So don't mess with my cast iron.
So you mean you don't microwave your eggs? I'm just kidding. Okay, I may or may not have microwaved a scrambled egg in my life. So I'm really not the person to talk about your outdoor grill. But
you know what? Welcome to the Real Agents Podcast, a weekly podcast where our mission, should we choose to accept it, is to talk about life, real estate, and everything in between. So if you like your advice and insights shaken and not stirred, well, then this is the podcast for you. That's Nicole Dash.
And that's Eric Harrington. And we are
the Real Agents.
Agents.
Yes.
Woo! Welcome, Eric. It has been... feels like forever, but this is our first episode in season 2, right? I mean, I can't believe we're already
It has been months. It has been hundreds and thousands of days. No, wait, it's been like 6 months? No.
Has it been 6? No, it's been 4 months. 4 months.
Wow.
Our producer cheated and told us how much it was.
Thank you, producer.
Thank you, Mr. Producer.
No, it's been so awesome doing this with you again. I'm super excited. Are you excited? Are you as excited as I am to do this?
You know what? I missed it. It's so weird.
Right?
Like the only good thing was when we were in person, we could talk again. Because while we're doing these episodes, we're not allowed to talk because all the gold goes out the window. And now for a while there, we actually could have conversations in person, but now no more. Sorry, Eric, can't talk to you anymore.
I love that you describe things that I have to say as gold. That might be the only time that's ever been said. So thank you for that. But yeah, no, now I feel like I'm not going to be able to talk to you for the next few weeks. There was so much interesting stuff that happened in the background while we were off that we weren't able to talk about. Weren't able to share with you guys, our listener. Or listeners, there might be 2 of you out there. But I am so glad to be back. Thank you for joining us again. This is going to be so much fun. We have so much in store for you this year. We feel like pros this time, right? I mean, I think we know what we're doing now.
Yeah, I think so. And you know what? Our Mr. Producer is such a pro, and he has a setup, and now we're having to wear these things, right?
I know,
we didn't
right?
do that season 1 because we're supposed to have better quality audio. We're just like more professional. Like, this is it.
I feel like a pro too. Every time I talk now, I'm going to hold my ear and get really close to the microphone. So it sounds like I've been doing this for dozens of years.
You have a good voice. You have such a good radio voice.
I always wanted to be that guy that did the trailers. I wanted to be that in a world where 2 real estate agents became podcasters and went on to greatness. No, that wouldn't work. But no, I'm super excited to do this year. This is going to be a lot of fun. We've got a lot in store. We've planned out the season for a change.
Yep, that's right. No more rolling by the seat of our pants. That's the expression. I'm not saying it wrong, but no more winging it. Like, we actually have a plan. We have topics. We have guests planned out on a regular interval. Like, I'm so excited. This is going to make all the difference. And we got to rein ourselves in and stay with our schedule, right?
Yes. You know what, though? Don't set the bar too high. I mean,
okay. Just kidding.
We're still kind of
winging it. We still sort of don't know what we're doing.
Yeah. So I do feel like there's going to be quite a bit of reaching back here and just going, oh, look what I got. Let's talk about that. Yeah, that was a little gross. But anyway, all right, let's just get into this. Are you ready to do this?
I'm ready.
So each week we're going to have a theme, right? I mean, we're coming in and we've got a theme, and we're going to discuss that theme. And yeah, I think every other week we're going to try to bring a guest along with us. But this first week, our theme is going to be, we're going to talk about challenging relationships.
That's right.
When it comes to real estate. And that could be with a client, with another agent, or client to agent, client to lender, client, just
agent
something.
to agent.
Exactly. Somewhere along the line, that relationship, it gets challenged, and how we deal with it. So I know
Absolutely.
you've had some time to think about it. I know that we may have a situation that we worked on together
That's right.
that might be part of this conversation. So I'm gonna give it to you, leave the floor to you to kind of get us off on our topic today.
Absolutely. So obviously a big part of real estate is building relationships with our clients, building relationships with other agents. A lot of the negotiations, everything is dependent on good communication, on, hearing each other out and working together to a common goal, right? Everyone is
Yeah,
representing their clients to the best of their ability.
yeah,
And I know I like to usually pride myself on being a very good communicator, maybe an over communicator. I have good relationships with people. I don't have a lot of people in my life that say, "Oh, she's difficult," right? Like I don't
yeah.
have a lot of people who
No,
say that about me. And same with you. I mean, I think a lot of people genuinely like you, Eric. I mean, that's
well,
just
I appreciate that. I appreciate,
yeah,
but
absolutely.
let's. I mean, just to be honest, too, I don't know how you could be successful in the real estate business, um, with the opposite being true. With
Right.
you've got this reputation of being a jerk. Now, I know there's people out there that consider themselves to be hard asses, and that's the character that they want to portray. But I don't know that a hard ass is what you want to be when you're
No.
dealing with people on a daily basis, right?
No, and especially with something that can be so stressful
Yeah,
as selling a house or buying a house. I mean, real estate transaction, I mean, that is one of the most biggest stressors that you can go through, um, you know, in your life, really. For some
yeah,
people, you do it once, right? Others, they do it more regularly, but some people I work with, they sell one house, they live in one house 50 years, right? And then they're
yeah,
selling it, and it's so stressful.
yeah.
So, and usually it's, really positive. There may be ups and downs. It's a roller coaster, but usually it's a really positive experience. Sometimes, though, there are people out there that no matter what you do for them, no matter how much you try to set them up to understand what's happening, communicate with them, they just find a way of focusing on the negative, right? I
Yeah.
think that's just life. That's just personality. And so then we have to deal with those people.
Right. Yeah, just to back up something you said, you talked about how buying a home, it could be one of the most stressful things that you do in life. I remember reading, and this was years and years and years ago, that they listed the most stressful things that a family or a couple can go through, and one was a job change, uh, having a baby, having a child. Well, it was getting married, changing jobs, having a baby, and buying a house. Those four things. And how many times have you worked with someone where they're doing like three of those four, or even all four of those at the same time?
Wow. Amazing. I've
Yeah,
definitely worked with that. They're like about to
yeah,
get married, their house is packed
yeah,
up, and they're about to move, and then their honeymoon is
yeah,
happening like one day after they move or
yeah,
something
yeah,
like that. Like they
yeah.
get married. I'm
I'll
like,
get that
why?
situation. Yeah, the same. I'll get that situation where someone's either like military, they're TDYing in here, so that's the job change, or they just got a job in the area and they just recently got married and they're pregnant with their first child at the
Yeah.
same time. So yeah, it's just stressor, 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 stressor. So you can expect that sometimes people are going to be on edge, and as the quarterback of the transaction, as we may be as their agents helping to shepherd them along either on the buy or the sale, or sale of their home, a big part of our job is to minimize those stressors, right? Is
Exactly.
to, if the relationship is frayed between the buyer and the lender, it's our job to figure out ways to make both sides of that feel like they're getting their just desserts. And I'm interested to hear how you try to navigate before it happens. Like, what are some of the things you do to avoid the stressful situation?
So typically, obviously, it's about rapport building, right? In the
Yeah,
beginning of the relationship, you're trying to build that rapport with either your client or if an agent's calling. I try to be very pleasant. I try to like talk to them as a human being, right? We're not opponents, even though we may be representing other two parties.
yeah,
We still have the same goal, right? We want the
yeah,
best for our clients.
yeah,
That should be the priority. So rapport building is number one. Number two is understanding how they want to be communicated to. And sometimes, I'll very clearly ask, especially it depends on if the age of the client, the demographic of the client, right? If they've been in their home 40 years and they don't really even like email, I know I'm not texting them, right? They need a phone call every day, right? So, actually sometimes they need me to show up in person every day, right? Everything needs to be in person. So
that's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, so understand
Nuts.
Understanding how they want to communicate and meeting them where they're at. So those are two big things: rapport building, meeting them where they're at with their communications. Sometimes, however, you may think you may have that conversation, and yet it still isn't what they want or need. Maybe they didn't even realize they needed it. But sometimes if you find that out a little late, that's when the stressors can happen. So.
Yeah, and no one airs their dirty laundry during that first relationship. Everyone's on it's a first date the first time you meet, your potential client. So no one's showing you their true personality. So sometimes, people just kind of gloss over some of the things that kind of upset them or tick them off, and then all of a sudden it sprouts up when the littlest thing goes sideways. One of the things that I'm big on during that initial conversation is setting boundaries, as well as sharing, building rapport, and finding out how they like to communicate. But another big part of it is letting them know how you operate too. That right. There's a time where the phone calls stop. There's a time of day where don't expect a call back, or the showing schedules, things like that. From a buyer standpoint, I like to set boundaries that, no, we're not going to see 8 homes in a day. That's in no one's best interest. And just trying to cut off at the pass any potential issue that could come up later on. Well, you didn't answer the phone at 10 o'clock at night when I text you. Well, I told you initially that that's just not the way I operate. But if you stick with me and you listen to what I'm going to say, I'm going to shepherd you through this, and everything's going to be great. One of the interesting things that and this is probably for our story time, but I can just kind of tie it into a specific case that I'm working on right now. We're negotiating between buyer and seller, and it's going back and forth, and my buyer is just, she's not livid, and she's not really truly upset, but she just wants to let me know how she doesn't appreciate what the last where we left off on the negotiation. Mm-hmm. So it was a 10-minute one-sided conversation of everything she hated about what was going on. Yeah. And I'm sure you'll agree with this. The best thing to do in that instance is just let them go. Right. Let her vent. Yes.
Let her do it. Yeah.
Exactly. And it was really interesting the way, as I'm doing it, I'm listening to what she has to say, because, you don't want to tune anyone out. And she made some really good points, the reasons why she was upset. And then when she was done, I didn't do that thing that a lot of people do with me where you say, "Are you done?" Because
people say that.
Oh my God. You've never, come on.
Are you done?
Yeah, where that jerk goes, "Are you done?" Because now it's my turn. And it's
that's terrible. That's terrible.
Yeah, no, I'm done. I'm not done. I'm going to dig you one more time before I'm done. Anyway, no, so I listened and I said, well, you made some incredibly valid points, but here's what I'm going to tell you. I've been doing this for quite a while, and I am a professional, and that's the reason why you chose me, because you know that I'm a professional, and you accepted the fact that I'm going to be able to get you through this. Trust the way I handle the process, and here's how I'm going to handle what you just said. And I just listed it all out, and we went down all the different things that she had a problem with, and all the places that I agreed with her, and all the places that I didn't. And the way I couched my differences was, basically, I work for you, and you are ultimately going to call the shots. It's your money, but if we do it your way, you're not going to be successful. Or it's going to be more challenging. And I think once they get all that off their chest, they're able to listen and be more pragmatic. Is that your experience?
Yeah, I think they just want to be heard. They want to be able to vent. And sometimes, depending on the personality, whether they're a little bit anxious or they're a little bit overwhelmed, whatever the feeling they're having, a lot of times it comes out in the form of anger, right? And I think that's
Yes. How dare
not
you?
just that's not just real estate, right? That's
No,
just people,
it's
right?
human nature. Yeah.
It's human nature. So I think sometimes if someone's feeling anxious, like in my story, my instance, you know, the preparation of the home was a very tight, short time span. So there was a lot of stress with that. She didn't have a lot of help. So there was a lot of stress with that. And we get to the part where we're taking photos, and it's a very vulnerable process because it's your home, right? Your home's being photographed. You've done all this work to get it ready. And if things don't happen exactly the way you envision in your head, for some people, that can make you stressed, that can make you anxious, and then that in turn is anger, right? And so, and where do you put that? Usually you're going to blame the person who's the easiest to blame, right?
Yeah, it's the closest target. Yeah, you're just going to take the closest target and go after them. Where, and what I found interesting, and I think we can kind of share this here. I mean, we worked on this deal together on both sides, and yeah, there were instances where, I don't want to say that the client's objections were totally wrong. They weren't totally wrong because your emotions are real, and when you're angry, oftentimes there is a reason to be angry. But what I noticed about more than it's like one little thing sets off the next thing and sets off the next thing and makes the next thing seem bigger than it actually should be, kind of thing. It's like with your significant other, if you don't bring up the fact that they didn't close the cabinet, then when they don't do the dishes, are you upset about the dishes or are you upset about the cabinet? You know what I mean? It's just, it keeps going on and on and on. Ooh, how about that for a life lesson? Damn.
Close the cabinets already, Eric.
I just brought that up because Felicia was all over me the other day. Why do you leave these cabinets open? Yeah. Anyway, the interesting thing about that deal that we worked on together, and this is something that I totally try to do, is I lean on the other people too, because sometimes you do have to just take yourself out of the equation. If it's going so crazy that my presence is actually making it worse, I can let someone else step up to the front, but stay in the background and make sure that everything's still happening.
Absolutely.
And that's why our team is awesome. That's why I think we're smarter than most, because a lot of times we get that, all right, I'm going to let you do this, or I'm going to let you do that, and we're going to keep this cohesive thing going, because if I didn't, it could go sideways. Have you experienced that before?
Yeah, I mean, in the example, we're kind of hinting around and not going into too much detail to protect. I know that sometimes if the client in this instance has more rapport with one of us versus the other, or just has more of a relationship. Like, for instance, she had a longer term relationship with you than with me over years. And so she felt comfortable saying some things to you that she maybe didn't with me. And so it was very helpful for you to be open to talking to her and then come to me. And then I could then know how to have the conversation with her. Right. So it was very much teamwork. Very much because sometimes we need help, right? Sometimes it's not, when you are an independent agent and not working in a team, I can only imagine how difficult it is dealing with a difficult situation, a difficult client who's all of a sudden unexpectedly and for really no reason feeling unhappy. In my opinion, I mean, there were little things, but to the levels, right? And what do you do if you work by yourself? I mean, what do you do? Like, that's hard.
I don't know how you handle it. I don't know how you navigate it if you don't have someone to bounce. Even, just to have the team to bounce ideas off of is huge, and get feedback and hear other people's stories on how they deal with things. All right. I know we're restructuring our podcast. So we're trying to keep our segments shorter. So I feel like we still have a lot to say about that topic, but in the interest of time, we're gonna keep moving along. And coming up now, we're going to do a market recap. And now it's time for one of our new segments. It's going to be our market recap. And now let's go to a wonderful chart as provided by NVAR.com, the market stats chart. I'm sure it's up there on the screen for you right now. We're going to take a look at June 2023 versus June 2022, and we'll have some month-to-month stats here as well. We'll do this once a month for you. So first up, the number of closed sales in June 2023 was 1,887, and that's down about 16% from last year this time. And that's mainly from an inventory standpoint, right, Nicole?
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Also, moving along, and we'll talk about the total volume. Total volume of sales for June 2023 is also down quite a bit as opposed to last year. We had 1.51 billion, and that's down almost 13% compared to last year this time, but it's up 6% compared to last month. So that's interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting. Yeah, and another thing we can look at is the average sold price for a home in June of 23 was actually $813,000.
Okay.
Which is actually an increase of 3% from last year. So the average price went up, and it was an increase of 1.5 from May. So from May to June, there was an increase, and year over year, there was an increase.
And that's, again, that's all about inventory. Inventory is so far down and continually trending down, just driving the prices up.
Yep, absolutely. And actually, we're going to see that in the number of active listings for June 23. That was 1,567, which the most important thing is down 32.2% from last year, June 22. And it's well below the 5-year average of 2,244 listings. So it's down below the 5-year average, down year over year significantly. I mean, that again, it's just all about inventory. That is what's impacting the market the most right now is the lack of homes.
And I think a lot of that, and I'm sure that's what we're seeing online, economists are saying, is just people aren't willing to put their house on the market and get the new higher rate, which, you know, historically the rate isn't that high. It's just so much higher than what it was a couple of years ago. A lot of people are getting scared away.
Yeah, they don't want to let go of those rates, right? If they have a choice, they're just choosing not to. And then the last thing we'll share is the total number of pending sales in June 23 was 1,522, which was down 25.9% compared to June. So pending sales are down, active listings are down. The only thing that is up is sales price, right?
Yeah, and average days on market too.
Average days on market. Right.
And you know, I think that average days on market has it trending a little bit towards a buyer's market, but our market is so crazy. I don't know that it's ever truly a buyer's market in that, you know, national sense of the word, where, you know, when you see these homes being on the market for quite some time, you're able to negotiate better price. I mean, we saw it last weekend, and not to date this podcast, but a number of our colleagues wrote on homes that had 6, 7, 8 offers. I don't know how many offers your listings had, but you know, the good homes still get multiple offers because there's just not enough out there for all the buyers. Yeah.
And I think buyers are able to be a little pickier, and if there's a nice home, they're going to fight for it. And so it doesn't matter that inventory is down. If they want a specific home and it's the right home and it looks great, they're still going to have competition.
Well, awesome. Look, that was market recap for the first time in episode 1. We're going to do this, like I said, about once a month. And these fantastic numbers are provided by NVAR on their website under market stats if you want to check it out yourself. But that was market recap.
So now it's time, Eric, for everything in between. A little story time segment.
That's right.
A little time to shine, to communicate, and to share exactly what's on our minds.
To talk about the hotness. Okay. All right. During our break, I was lucky enough, and I'm sure this happened during the break and not while we were still on. I got a Blackstone grill. Are you familiar
Ooh.
with what that is?
You know, you are way advanced in your grilling situation than I am. I've got the
I will
same grill
not
for
deny
15
that.
years.
Yes, I am in the upper 1% of people who like to cook in the outdoors. Yes. I'm not gonna say I'm an elitist, but just come out and check my style, yo. No, so this Blackstone grill, it is an iron it's like a big griddle. It's like a griddle that you have and you cook outside with some propane heat. The thing is a 5 burner. It is
Ooh.
huge and it is awesome.
Okay,
Nicole,
so
all right. Let me just so I get the thing, and it was intimidating immediately because it comes in this huge box, right? The box is like it's like 5 feet long and 3 feet high and like 3 feet deep, and it says assembly required. So it sat in my garage for like 2 weeks, and I was scared to open the box. I was like, oh my God, I don't want to do this. So watched a couple of YouTube videos. It really isn't that hard to assemble. Pop the box open, assembled it, and I get it set up on my deck. And now the next intimidating thing: if you get the seasoning wrong, if you season it incorrectly, it's screwed. The food's gonna stick. It's not gonna work properly. It's gonna rust. So I spent like the next 2 days turning it on, heating it up, and then slathering it with either beef
like
tallow.
oil?
Yes, canola oil. Like you burn it off, and then you put
Okay.
another coating, and then you burn that off, and you
You
put and
lost me. No, I'm kidding.
I get it, but hold on, and maybe we can throw up some pictures. But anyway, yeah, it starts off as this like gray big piece of iron, right? But once you put that oil on it, you burn it off, starts turning black, and then it gets blacker, and then it gets blacker, and then finally it is like this just big black piece of metal, and you're like, oh yeah, this is it. This is it.
So like a
So
cast iron pan, but on a griddle?
like
Is
like
that it?
if you go to the Waffle House and you
Yeah.
see those guys back there cooking up your eggs, that is what you basically, it's a smaller version of that. I could go into a Waffle House right now and work a full shift. I guarantee it. Yes. And the food would be on point. Wow. So all right. Yeah, you get it all seasoned. You got to do onions for some reason. You grill up some onions and you just throw them away. You don't eat them. I tried to eat them and they tasted horrible. But anyway, then I did chicken cheesesteaks on it, right? You take like a pound of butter and you throw the butter on that thing. You spread the butter around, then you take the chicken, you throw it on, you throw on your onions and your green peppers, and you're
You're
slapping it all
chopping
together
it?
with the, oh my God, I looked like I was on Iron Chef. It was amazing, right? So I'm like, oh, this is going to taste like crap. I'm putting the seasoning on. There's no way I did this right. I get the bread, I slice it, I butter up the bread, I put it on the griddle, and it gets some weight on it so the bread gets nice and crusty and crispy. And then I put some mayonnaise on the but oh, trust me, it was like 20,000 calories. But anyway, I throw it on, put the cheese on it, give it to my wife. What do you think? She said, "This is the reason I married you." And I
Oh,
was
she
like,
said
"Oh,
it needs more salt. That's what she
yeah."
said.
She said, "This is the reason I married you. Pass the salt."
You got
Yes.
the salt.
No, if you have the opportunity to come over to my house and have some Blackstone steak or hot dogs or ham, I made smash burgers the other day for dinner. It is the most amazing thing. Now, there is no way this is healthy,
Mm-mm.
but
I thought
and
grilling
I
was healthy, but not what you're doing. A
no,
pound of
no, no,
butter
no,
every time. Like
no,
that's
no,
not
no. Yes,
healthy.
yes. No, no, no. My arteries are very, very clogged. I'm eating a lot of roughage. I don't know how that helps my arteries, but hopefully it does. Um, but yes, this is my story that I'm going to convey to the world. Buy yourself a Blackstone, or just come over to my house and I'll make a
Yeah.
steak for you.
I
Yeah,
think I'll just go to your house
yeah,
because you lost me at the whole like seasoning thing. I have a cast iron. I went camping once. So,
yeah,
but first of all, we don't really camp. My husband does
yeah,
not camp. He
yeah.
doesn't believe in camping. That's not happening. But
It's
we went,
glamping. Yeah.
it was glamping. It was like a little cabin. It had an indoor kitchen, but it also had an outdoor grill area. And I said to him, I want to cook every meal outdoors.
Okay.
Okay. because I said, even though we won't
Why
need a
not?
tent,
Yes.
and even though it had a bathroom, so it wasn't really camping, I wanted to cook outside so we could pretend like we were camping. So he
Yes.
said, have at it. And so I didn't have any of the tools. I bought, because I'm not a chef, a cast iron thing, you know, for the first time to go camping. Someone's
Yes.
gonna they're gonna criticize me for this, but I had to figure out the whole seasoning process before I didn't do it right. Everything
No.
stuck. It was terrible.
You ruined all your
terrible.
food. Yes.
It was awful. The only thing that I got right on this camping trip was like the coffee, because I had one of those like espresso
French press.
on the French. Yes,
He did a
that's the
French
only
press?
thing I got right on this
Nice.
trip.
Nice.
Everything else, he was like, we can make the eggs inside on this gas stove in this cabin. After they were like stuck on there. So yeah, you lost me on the seasoning, because that's not my forte. Grilling outside is not my forte.
That's where most people get it twisted. They get it wrong because everyone wants to use stuff right away. No, you got to take the time. You have to, be pragmatic. You got to get the seasoning right. I cracked an egg on it the other day and the egg slid around. That's how you knew it was seasoned perfectly. That egg just slid around. I got the spatula right underneath it and flipped. Oh, it's amazing. So we had people over for the 4th of July, and I browned some really thick ribeye steaks like that. So I seared them on the black. So I guess we're back from technical difficulties. My take on Blackstones was so hot it broke the internet, obviously. But what I was getting at is, yes, as a society, we want things done instantly, and no, greatness takes time and takes preparation. So season your pans and pots. Don't you're funny. You should mention your cast iron skillet. I have a personal relationship with my cast iron skillet. And this is no BS. If Felicia breaks out my cast iron skillet to use it to cook something, there's a whole process. Okay, what are you cooking? Why are you using the skillet? Do you understand what this means if you're going to use the skillet? Yeah, and I know that sounds ridiculous, but these things, it took time to get them right.
Yeah.
I was talking about the egg sliding. You can't do that on just any other skillet. I mean, that shows some preparation and some skill. So don't mess with my cast iron.
So you mean you don't microwave your eggs? I'm just kidding. Okay, I may or may not have microwaved a scrambled egg in my life. So I'm really not the person to talk about your outdoor grill. But
you know what? I have had a microwaved egg, and that's not a bad thing to do.
It takes 30 seconds, and sometimes you're just in a hurry.
And it's a little fluffy. Yeah, it's not
no
terrible.
Oil. There's no grease.
Oil.
Just the radiation that I'm eating.
Well, I don't know. Radiation, pound of butter. I don't know. If your RDA of butter is at least three sticks of butter, then get yourself a Blackstone.
See, I'm more of a baker. Like, I love to bake. So baking is my thing. I'm not a griller. I'm not, I can do a good casserole. So
I have not baked a cake in years. How about this? All right. Challenge for you. One of these podcasts, I will grill something for you and you bake something for me, and then we'll share it, and then we'll eat it on the podcast.
All right. Sounds good. Yeah. I made my daughter for her birthday a really, really great strawberry white chocolate cake. So it was really good. Yeah.
Oh, that's all. Now, wait a second. I saw your video the other day. Weren't you guys baking in that video?
Were we? What video?
Your video on YouTube where you talk about being a real estate agent. It was so cool.
Oh, yes.
It was straight baller too, just so you know.
Oh my gosh, awesome. I can't believe you saw that video. I was so embarrassed.
It was awesome.
So we're doing profile videos.
Yes.
And I was the test run, right? The pilot.
Of course.
So Kwong, our photographer, he had me do all these different scenarios, right? Like opening the door, opening the lockbox, walking up the stairs, looking around with a pen, getting out of my car. I mean, it was just so difficult for me.
You handled it with a plum. You were awesome. It was spectacular. And yeah, you just have a way about you. I mean, Felicia and I were watching and she's like, wow, she's good. I was like, yeah, she's good. She knows what she's doing. What I think is just awesome is the 2-camera shot where you start out and you're talking to the camera, and then all of a sudden it cuts and you're still talking and you're off to the side talking to this person over here. I just think it was so cool, right? Because I couldn't do that. I would have to go and then keep talking.
Well, he had 2 cameras set up, and I was just like, it's the way I told him I don't like that angle, the second shot angle. So I told him when I saw the first cut, I was like, can we make less of those cutaways?
You look great though. You nailed
it.
You nailed it. And having the family in it was awesome. It was really cool. Who were the older people? Were those clients or were those staged people?
No, those were people from
Those were hired actors? Those are hired actors you found?
No hired actors for the purposes. But you're going to do one too. I think everyone's going to end up doing one. So
no one's coming out to Stafford to shoot with me and my family. No, I'm going to have to fake a house in Nova. Yeah. But anyway, that was our nice little everything else. I thought that was awesome.
Everything in between. I think it was good. I liked it.
Takeaway from that is more butter and more Blackstone and more Nicole.
And no microwaving eggs.
All right, wait. You know what though? I will microwave the hell out of vegetables. I don't know about you, but that is the best way to eat your vegetables. Well, not the best, but it's the easiest way.
Easy. Right? Steam it in the microwave. Yep. Absolutely.
A little bit of plastic over the bowl of broccoli with a little bit of water in it and a little bit of butter. Yeah.
Lots of butter. Well, be careful though. Okay, I know we're about to end, but I once had to go to the hospital years and years ago because I microwaved vegetables. I put a plastic wrap, which you're not supposed to do now. I know this, but back then, plastic wrap, and I peeled it back and I burned my entire.
Oh, you got a burn.
I got a steam burn from microwave vegetable. Seriously, it was really bad.
What vegetable was it?
It was the most painful, like broccoli. I don't even remember, but I was in my early 20s and it was the most painful thing. A burn on your hand.
Well, yeah, you can't. Awful. You got to leave a vent so that steam will release.
Yeah. So I learned the hard way.
We should have known each other by then. I could have avoided that, but I'm glad you're okay now.
Yes.
All right. So that was episode 1 of season 2, and yeah, that was awesome. We did it. Way to go!
Woohoo!
Make sure we're gonna do these every 2 weeks now, and every other episode we're gonna have a surprise guest, right?
That's right. And our next guest, we won't tell you who this person is. But this person is special and important. And
Barack Obama.
I think we both like this person. Maybe some days.
Robert De Niro.
I don't think we have that budget.
Margot Robbie.
Yeah, I do want to watch the movie though.
Big Barbie fan.
Barbie.
Right?
We're all going to watch it. My whole family, I think. So
I have a Ken doll. I'm just saying. All right, that'll be story time next week, but we will have a guest next time we're on. But do us a favor, folks, like and subscribe, give us 5 stars. We really appreciate your time and your effort. So subscribe so you don't miss out. And I think I always hear people say, click that bell so you can get notifications as well.
That's right. And make comments and follow us and connect. And we can't wait to continue this podcast. So
tell us what you're cooking on your Blackstone. So there, anyway.
Come back next week for
Real Agents of Fun.
Real Agents of Change. And
Real Agents
of Real
Estate. What? All right, I blew all that because I froze again.
Well, you froze while I was talking, so I think it was okay.
Was it? I don't know. Okay, look, I know that was terrible, but we didn't get to before we the whole like and subscribe and give us 5 stars.
Oh, okay. So, 5-star rating. Okay, let's
All right, let's
do
start
it
from
again.
let's
Can we
start
do it
from
again?
okay, we're all done.